Hello everyone, Kristen Thomas here for SUP Connect. This is Thursday and it's SUP Connect Live. Better turn the volume up here. Had to make a quick change. Our power is out and internet at my house, so thank you to my sister whose house I'm at right now. Hi Chev Yvonne. Hello, welcome. Thanks for being here. So every Thursday, I have the pleasure of interviewing someone in the paddling world, and stand-up paddling specifically. And today's going to be really fun because Steve Owen has a business called SUP to You. He's local, so we're going to be talking about some of my favorite places, but just a lot of insight. We've talked to some brands, but I think it's great to talk to someone who's out there in the trenches, doing the work, and during this pandemic has seen a lot of things. So excited to talk to him about that. And of course, I'm going to make him tell a little bit of his story and what he's up to. And I think we're all hopeful and looking into what's going to be happening as things improve and things change. I'm looking for him now. He should come in as SUP to You LB. So Steve is based in Laguna Beach. And hi, Craig. And who else is here? Sorry, some of you don't. Oh, John, Ross, Claire. Thanks for joining us. Ramsey, Ronald, Lauren. Paddle Shop in Miami. I don't know who that is. I should know. Is that you, Lizzie? Is that Adventure Sports? Anyway, great to have you guys. Looking for Steve. Hopefully he can find us. Craig, I saw the shaka. Yeah, we're going to be talking about our stomping grounds. Craig is also in this area. Who else is on? Gary is down visiting from Northern California, so he's our San Francisco local, but he gets down here quite a bit. Sorry our weather isn't better for you. It actually just rained here. I won't try to sing, but it supposedly never rains in Southern California, does it? Sorry, still looking for Steve. Oops, having trouble finding us. I know this Instagram live is both easy and hard. Oh, sup, Norway. Claire, what time is it in Norway? Pretty late at night, huh? Hey. Hey with a J. I think you say that in Norwegian too. I know Norwegians and Swedes, we silly Americans think are the same, and I know they're not. I have Swedish heritage. But I know you understand each other's languages. Hey do, I think that's what you say. Oh, Aria Mardani, hi, how are you? Yeah, maybe if we can't find Steve, let's see, I'm going to email him because I got my computer here in front of me. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. It is almost the end of March. I think it's been a year. We were hoping the pandemic would be over. Still hopeful. We're in a pretty good place. I'm very happy I got my vaccine. I'm hoping to travel more soon. One of the first big international event I was going to go to has been delayed, which I think was smart because they want it to be a full international event, and that's going to be in Hungary. Was going to be in June, now is going to be, that's the ICF SUP Championships. Stand-up paddling racing still has multiple championships, but we're going to be talking about all aspects of stand-up paddling. If you guys have any questions, let's see. There he is. Yay. Yes. Just chatting with the crowd here. You got a bunch of people here to chat with you. You probably didn't hear my introduction of you, but we'll start over once you jump in. Steve Owen of SUP to You. Really cool business model. We'll talk about that and about the industry and what he's seen. But thanks again always to SUP Connect for letting me do this. Super fun. I do it on their channel. My name's Kristen Thomas, KT Outside. Let's see. Send request. I just want to invite you to the room. Okay, Steve, I see that you're there. SUP to You LB. So hopefully there's something to click that will allow you to join us. Hopefully you're seeing that because your name is popping up. There you are. There you be. You're supposed to just appear. Oh, you're brand new in Miami. Well, welcome. We love that. So, Paddle Shop Miami, if you're down there, beautiful waters. And really, I'm on the Pacific coast, so so cool what you guys get to see. Like manatees, I think are amazing. The color of your water is really different and special. There used to be a race there called the Orange Bowl that was really unique. Um, it started in I wish I remember the name of it, like a shopping area, and went outside and up a river and through tall buildings. Um, SUP2 is unable to join. So I'm not sure what that is. Um, there might be something blocking. Um, are you on your phone? Because unfortunately, this doesn't work on a laptop. Instagram is a funny animal. You can look at it on your laptop, but you can't join live. Um, if that happens to be the issue. Arya, are you a golfer? Is that what those are? Little golf flags? Hey, Dennis, my teammate. Alejandro, welcome. Steve's almost with us, Dennis. So we've got a new paddle shop in Miami who's watching. Love it. Yeah, you'll want to listen to this once we get Steve on. I'm sure we're going to figure it out. Yeah, Steve, you're here. So I don't know what's not allowing you to join. Um, is there something on your phone that's blocking in some way? Do it, sup. That sounds cool. What kind of, is that a business? Susan, hi. Hey, Mel from Alaska, Stephanie from San Diego. We've
There you go.
got Marcella, coach. Yay!
There we go.
There it is, Steve. Wonderful.
Hey,
Thanks
Kristen.
for joining us.
Absolutely.
I
Stoked
know
to,
super busy week for you, huh? I mean, getting ready for spring, but it is raining today. So
yeah, a little sprinklage going
hopefully,
on. So,
hopefully it worked out as a better day for you to do that. Hey,
yeah,
Jake.
yeah.
Anyway, there'll be names scrolling across the bottom. I was just saying hello while we're waiting to a number of people, a couple of shops. Good stuff. Bunch of
Awesome.
people watching. Thank you for taking the time to do this. I'm really excited because you bring a whole new perspective because you're out there in the field with people, getting them started on the right equipment, getting them started in SUP for the first time, giving them cool adventures. So you really have, we've talked to some brands about perspective on what's happening in the industry, but you have a unique one because you're there doing it. But before we do that, I know this is going to be mostly, and you want to talk about the industry and definitely want to hear about what you're doing and plans for SUP with SUP to you, but it's always good to hear people's water stories. So how did you first find SUP and what hooked you on it?
Sure. So it really started with just hanging out in Laguna Beach. Me and a good buddy of mine, Ryan Ocon, who is the guy that we originally opened the shop with, and um, let's see, the first board that was out and about, I bought some Imagine Surf plastic SUP thing, it was this beater thing that I could at least, get in or buy one of these paddle boards inexpensively. So threw that on the water, met Ryan, who lived in town as well, and just kind of fell in love instantly. I mean, I've always been a waterman guy and been in Laguna Beach. Our family's been in Laguna Beach 4 generations, so I grew up down at going to Victoria Beach, and yeah, I was hooked instantly. Yeah.
So was it SUP surfing or, I mean, if you guys don't know, we live in an absolutely gorgeous place and I haven't lived here, many generations, but 23 years, I think. So the water's just beautiful, but it is Pacific Ocean. It isn't warm like we have some East Coast or Florida people. So definitely they're used to a little warmer water. I'm always surprised when people come to the Pacific and they like, oh, your water's cold. But was it surfing or was it just paddling around?
No,
Beautiful underwater.
just recreational paddling and paddling up and down the coastline. So for me, knowing Laguna Beach coastline and all the coves and all the different places you can explore, and then for people who don't know, Laguna Beach is a shore break wave, so it's perfect for SUP. You can kind of paddle in and out of coves. So I just jumped on my board and just started paddling north or paddling south, and and then of course amazing the view you get when you're on the water and you're looking at all the houses on the homes and heaven singing. And so, yeah, being in open ocean and coastal is that's for sure my go-to.
Yeah. Well, you, I think, have a really special, unique business model that I think I'd love to see replicated even more, in that what you sell, you have available to try. And I get asked that a lot, like, how do you try this board? How do you,
Sure.
so people know the equipment and you really, I think, match them up well. I know at one point you had an actual brick and mortar store, but your business model was always to bring boards to people, right? For
That's right.
renting or for demoing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, originally when we first opened up in 2013, we were full brick and mortar retail. um, and then always have the model of test drive before you buy, or at least understanding the concept of, with all the different variances of the boards, how having someone actually paddle it is what's truly going to enable them to figure out if that's the right board for them and what's truly going to sell that board. And that's the beauty of a demo program is, um, someone jumps on that board, they fall in love with it in 2 seconds, and boom, they're in the game. And versus being in a store and looking at stuff on the wall, and you have a guy going, "Oh yeah, that's the board for you," and the guy's kind of like, "Yeah, I don't know." So, um, in the whole getting crazy with demo boards deal really started, or the concept of myself when first getting into the sport, and you kind of look around and nobody has demo boards, and I pull what I could from whoever I knew, and then eventually just kind of figured, hey, this would be a solid model. And then now we've really extended it to, we're down at Baby Beach, Dana Point Harbor every Saturday. We do private demos the rest of the week. We're launching a mobile showroom, and fortunately, the whole mobile concept now is like the norm. People want to, curbside and have you show up on the doorstep. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it just worked out to be a part of the whole plan of
Yeah.
where we've been going. So, yeah, super
So you,
thankful.
right.
Yeah,
None of us knew what was going to happen 12 months ago, and how much that would interrupt business, but you were kind of set up to do a good job with that. And I know you've noticed some really interesting trends, probably through the long time that you've been both selling and instructing, but also during this pandemic. We have seen growth again. So talk about what you've seen.
yeah, amen to that. So, yeah, it is really exciting to see. Kind of, to me, it's kind of like the second wave or second craze of SUP. When SUP first kind of hit the water, and there was that first big craze, and then it kind of simmered down. And I think it was around 2018 or so when you saw a lot of companies kind of going away. And and now the industry and the brands, kind of the strong survive. So the good premium brands have stuck around. And then what's great is just the innovations in design and shape that have happened through the years. So, first generation paddleboard was a just oversized surfboard, the layered production board, the first one out there. And now you got some great offerings, which in the end really just gets more people on the water and more people in this sport. And so that's where, again, super excited about this season. Last season for us, I mean, just total crazy train. I mean, with the demand of everyone wanting to get outdoors, get out of the house. And so, yeah, we're prepped up for another big season. And if anything, I think there's a difference too with this second growth spurt. The first one, I think, was just the excitement of a new sport. And now that most people kind of somewhat know about stand up, and with the variety of offerings that there is out now as well, you're just going to see more people getting into the sport, and families and couples. And I just think it's just a great opportunity to keep growing. And then, of course, awesome that, SUP Connect and all the people that have hung through the ups and downs of this sport, and now that we're still in the game, and now you got this new kind of spurt going on. It's exciting. I'm super blessed, super thankful to be in the position that we're in, and that I kind of hung through those tough years, and now here we go. Let's get people on the water.
Yeah, love it. Love the positive attitude. I do want to talk a little bit, and it's not negative at all, but I know we've brought up with this new surge, there were the early adopters who tend to buy in a different way and look a little bit different at things. Although I was one of those, I probably would have been a difficult customer because I'm like, oh, I want to do everything. Do you have a board that does everything? I'm going to surf on it and I'm going to paddle around on it. But this new group know what you mentioned it. They know what stand-up paddling is, but perhaps jumped in, didn't buy a board from you, bought, that board, starter board. So price point is more of a thing, and they just jumped into it without too much thought. So maybe they hadn't thought through safety. So talk about some of the things you've seen just in the parking lot. I know you and I spend time in the same parking lot in terms of the growth.
Sure.
And again, overall, it's fantastic. And it's going to be really positive, but anything you see, any concerns about the growth?
No, I mean, I think if anything, just like, typical sports and buyers and whatever, the people that are just tippy toeing in, and, it is a investment to buy a quality board and quality equipment. So that's where we see a lot of the lower price point inflatables out there that someone just bought on Amazon, and they want to get the family on the water. And then the good thing about that is, again, it's getting people in the sport. And then as people really fall in love with the sport, eventually they're going to get toasted out on the cheapo inflatable they bought. And now they're going to start looking to the specialty shops like us, or throughout, all the different specialty shops that we have. And I think just like a specialty bike shop, if you have someone in your town that you know and trust, and hey, these guys are the real deal, and you can kind of tell the difference between companies that are just trying to sell, and versus the ones that are really dedicated to the variety of boards and shapes and brands, and like I said kind of earlier, that's what's really cool right now is the brands we partner with. I mean, we're real heavy with SIC, NSP, Quattro for a paddle surf brand. And they just got some great innovative shapes that are going to spread so more people can get on these boards, and not just pure performance or not just pure cruiser boards, but there's some really great stuff in between. And then that gives, again, the opportunity for people who they want price point, but they can still get quality, or if they want to go all in and get, carbon fiber and they want the performance side of things, it's there and offering. So now just the challenge for the retailers is, inventory is still tough because you still have all these deals going on with the container ships and the delays of stuff coming in. And so if anything, for us, what we've done is really just try to streamline the offerings and have the best models for each category. And we do our best to try to cover the bases there. And we've really broken things down into categories, from just price point to, high end, and, paddles and gear and all that kind of stuff. So if anything, if you can really outfit people properly, they're gonna stick in the sport, and they're gonna keep doing this thing for eons. And that's the beauty of the quality boards. They just, if you take care of them, they're gonna treat you good.
I think, and excellent points. And I'm hoping what you said is exactly, as long as they're having a safe and fun experience with something they bought maybe at a Costco or something that's not horrible, but isn't necessarily what they want. But I think most people are aware when they're buying that this, okay, I want to see if I like this, but we want them to love it like we do. So I've had a little concern about like safety, being unaware that you really do need to buy, PFD by law. They haven't been
Sure.
giving tickets during pandemic, but who knows when, they might start to again. But just, you should be able to swim and just knowing equipment. But hopefully, they will love it. And then, as you said, will be ready to graduate to come to someone like you who can outfit them in what they decide they really want to do. I had a question is, I've kind of noticed, and my feeling is, you said like it was just a big surfboard at first, is what a stand-up paddle, people who started really early started on a tandem surfboard, something they could stand on. And that shape still is valid depending how you're using it. But I noticed the touring shape a lot. So I'm on a race board a lot, but a piercing nose and having glide, is that category getting more popular?
For sure. Because essentially, if you look back to um, people who bought the all-around cruiser board and they've had it for 3, 4 seasons, most likely they're not going to want to buy another cruiser board. They're going to want to buy something upgrade. So certainly getting into a touring performance 12, 6, 14 planning hole or displacement hole type shape is going to jump you up tenfold and get you the glide and the tracking and for sure people who are serious in the sport and we have our locals and regulars that we see down at the beach all the time, and they're always looking at the latest and greatest. And so, yeah, I think it goes on both ends. And then back to what I was saying about the innovations and the newer designs. So, like the tour boards, let's say. So, first generation tour board, kind of clunky and big and heavy, and it was stable, but big and clunky and heavy. So with some of these newer streamlined shapes, it just makes all the difference in the world because it's just easier to paddle the board, and that's what somebody wants. And for the most part, when we're talking recreational paddlers, weekend warrior guys or girls, they want stability. They want the board to glide easy. They don't want to paddle a big, heavy tugboat. And that's where, as people see that value in spending a little bit more money, they're going to get the lighter board. They're going to get the sleeker models. And then, again, the brands have done a great job, or where they have streamlined is, having a couple of construction options. So that gives a good price point option for the customer. And then, just the shapes in general. So I kind of mentioned, I'm stoked to see what I call hybrid category. So back like when we had JP Australia and Imagine Surf and some brands that kind of had this hybrid category, which was kind of an all around volume and width, but with a little bit of a displacement, kind of a nose. SIC's coming out with their Mangrove board. So I'm excited to get that out. We got those heading our way right now. And it's a nice little step up from an all-around cruiser shape, but not a full big tour board either. So we sold those boards really well when we had that hybrid category back in the day. And so, yeah, it's just really cool to see some of these newer shapes for the enthusiast, and then, some great options for the cruiser boards as well. NSP's got their Cocoa Flax construction, a proprietary construction, and those boards are awesome light. And, as paddling a performance board, a race board, when you get a board that's 25 pounds or 26 pounds, I mean, it gets up to glide like butter. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And yeah, so we're heading in a really good direction. And then again, I think these partnerships are really valuable on all ends. The way you guys are connecting with the different types of industries and people in the industry, and you guys are building yourself up as a go-to for real deal information, which is exactly what people are looking for and what they need as they're getting into the sport, because you could float around the internet for so long and
Yeah.
only go so far, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm real stoked to see you grow with SUP Connect, and it's been great to connect with you guys throughout the years. And you know,
Yeah.
uh, nothing but up from here, I
Yeah,
think.
both
So
feeling optimistic. Hey, before we leave equipment, great like insight on brands and specifics about it and the direction. How about other equipment? Like, do you want to mention anything about paddles or things that someone who might be new to it might not know
sure,
they need yet? I mean, there's some things you find out very quickly. You must move, transport the board and safety. Go ahead.
indeed. Yeah, absolutely. So, and again, I think that's the value of a specialty shop, um, and specialty outlets like you guys to really get that information of proper paddles and proper gear and transporting and storing. And you know, the paddle is huge. You know, the board is certainly an important factor, but I'd say the paddle is even more so. I mean, that's your propeller. And you know, we're big fans of Werner, Kealoha. You know, Quick Blade's an awesome brand too, but those premium brands that really live and breathe paddles and designing paddles, um, we're pretty good at upselling a customer and saying, hey, you know what? Spend the extra $80, $150, whatever it is. You want to get a quality paddle. You want it durable, quality material, latest and greatest shape. You know, we've seen.
Oops.
Um,
Okay, you're back.
it's
Yeah,
really
sometimes when
cool to
somebody
see the
calls, it cuts
innovation.
out.
Yeah, I don't know how to turn that off or whatever. I'm thankful it's just not been blowing up the whole time. Um,
It's working.
but it's been cool to see the innovation in paddles too. So you know, we've seen blade size get smaller. We've seen the stretch of the you know, Werner, to me, were the first ones that really innovated that rectangular blade shape, which really cuts through the water and makes it, at the end of the day, for a recreational paddler, makes it easier for them to paddle. Um, and so it's great that that is also getting innovative too, with the shapes and the brands that make paddles are taking suit of all those designs. Equipment is just as important. You know, obviously you get some crappy straps and, you know, some pool noodle things, and you see people throw them on their Honda Civics and the boards flopping all over the place. And that's usually the first guy that I go, hey brother, you know, probably want to get maybe some better pads and straps and a better kit. Um, and then what we've done is just try to cover all those logistic bases. So that's where, you know, just trying to figure out with the enthusiast customer, all the logistics and everything you're going to need to store the board, put it on your car, take care of it, covers, straps, locks, all that fun stuff. And once people get that figured out, then it's not going to be like the first kayak you bought that collects dust and um, you don't ever use, and you obviously don't want that to happen to someone who just you know, buys a bunch of boards. So as long as
Very true.
that part of it is streamlined, they could get it in their car easy and put it in the car in the garage and all that stuff. So, and then again, there's really great avenues out there. You know, there's that. I mean, there's a couple of great rack places online that sell, you know, boat racks and all kinds of stuff. So, um, you know, as the sport is booming again and growing, now we're seeing, you know, these other companies and providing, you know, so that's cool.
Yeah, very cool. Well, Marcella has been commenting, says hello to Lori and Jeremiah, and asked you some questions. I'm guessing she's a fan. I think there might be a shared last name there.
Indeed, indeed.
She's asking, what's the best beginner board? Or
The best
what you
beginner board. So the best beginner board is typically going to have extra volume and extra width. Um, that's probably the two biggest factors I'd say that we deal with. So that way someone um, is going to feel nice and stable and comfortable. And when you get those wider width and wider templates, gives you some more elbow room to get someone comfortable and kind of in the game kind of thing. So um, So yeah,
Yeah.
that's your most common. And then as you lighten up the board, that also especially helps people to learn and really have more fun. You know, that's what's great about these lighter construction options that are out there. Just makes it easier for people to paddle. You know, you get a
Yeah.
lady with a 23-pound board, she's going to be like, just gliding around like
Yeah.
nothing. If you
I
give
don't
her a
know how
big,
much those early boards weighed, but I remember going down the stairs at Anita helping
oh yeah,
somebody who had a board before I did. It took two people to carry those big monsters down the stairs and get them in the water.
well,
Uh,
yeah, that layered, you know,
yeah.
from my understanding, the layered SUP was the first production model on the market from SurfTech, and those things were tankers. I mean, those things were like 35 pounds or whatever, and
Please. Yeah.
you still see those things around. You know, the yellow boards, right, with the old layered SurfTech
Yep.
deal, and you know, when Layered was around, we had the Layered stand-up brand. That was
Hmm.
fun. You know,
Right. And we're glad they made them and we're getting it started. But to your point earlier, the innovation has been pretty impressive over the
indeed,
last decade. Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah. So you do, we've talked a lot about equipment and getting people started and how you demo It's Up to You. SupToYou.com is a great website, but you do a lot of experiential stuff and you offer, these people who get hooked on the water want meetups. And so talk about some of the things. I know springtime, we lucky to be year round. I know somebody who just said hi from South Dakota. They're about to start their season. I mean, we're so lucky, but I'm sure you have more in the spring and summer, more people who are more fair weather. So what are
Sure.
some of the experiential things you've got coming up?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, um, I'm blessed to be a blessing. I'm thankful to have the business I have and not to just be in this to make money, you know, and I really love how I meet so many people. And a way to extend that is um, I started up a paddle group or a sunset paddle kind of thing.
Have fun.
Yeah, it's so I originally started it through my church. It's called SUPM, and we have a website, supm.org.
Hmm.
And what we do is I basically donate 12 boards. So you go on the site, you sign up on your name, go down on the beach, and we do a fun paddle. We do it down at Baby Beach. And it's just really a way to meet people and get together. And I mean, we don't beat anyone up with the Bible or anything. It's just fellowship and hanging out um, and just to enjoy God's creation. And so we're definitely excited to we're launching that on April 3rd at
Okay,
Baby
coming up.
Beach. So and it's like I said, it's free and it's just something to get on the water and certainly a way that you could check out the sport. And if you're, a lot of times we get people who are new to town and um, so again, I've just met so many different people in this sport, great people, and then of course you see them driving down PCH and you see them at the store and uh, it's so cool how I've seen people from way back when and then most of the time I feel kind of bad. She's like, "Hey, what's up, Steve?" I'm like, "Hey, what's up, brother?"
Yeah, remembering
Just
names
because
is hard.
there's been we've done hundreds of board setups and outfitting. So so I think that's the exciting part too is just the community aspect of SUP.
Yeah,
And I'm thankful I'm not selling t-shirts and shovels. Uh,
yeah.
no offense if anyone does that though. You gotta. I mean, I've sold solar to faucets to you name it. So, and now I'm thankful that I'm selling paddle boards. But we'd love to have anyone who's in the area come down, check it out, come hang out with us, and meet some
That's
cool people,
wonderful.
get on the
Yeah.
water, and that's obviously if we go into the next segue here, the pandemic and mental health, and people being cooped up. And so again, I think this is an opportunity for us to be able to, you know, use what we have in a way for good and to serve our community, and not just think of ourselves, which is what we're supposed to be doing anyways. And that's where the meetups, in these paddle groups, and I know, like Candace Appleby down there, she's always doing stuff. You know, Big Mike Paddle Academy. I mean, there's just so many great guys down there, that are just in this sport for the stoke and the camaraderie, and it's a true community deal, and you can certainly use it to build community, within your own town. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun deal, to get that going too.
Yeah, so true. I'm glad you mentioned the mental health. I mean, particularly this year, but anytime there's so many, whether it's because it can be very individual, but people do love community, and there's such great people, and you do connect with nature and, higher forces by being out in nature. And it's so neat to be able to share that. So I love your SUP M. I assumed it was Mariners, but ministry, what M count stands as both, .org, supm.org. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
SUP to you, TO. We'll put all this, we do have a Facebook group, so we can actually list
Oh,
out
yeah.
places that people can find you. But I want to talk about locations. Somebody just said, where is Baby Beach? Someone else answered Dana Point. Because you and I,
Yeah.
being local, sometimes
Sure.
forget. SUP Connect has
Of course.
followers all over the world, so we've got people from everywhere here, and not necessarily even just in the US. So we're
Oh,
based in Southern California, and Steve has great knowledge, as he mentioned at the beginning, generations living in Laguna. But you cover kind of Newport Beach to the north, Laguna Beach, and then Dana Point, and probably San Clemente, but the next towns to the south. But I think that's so cool. Talk about some of, you mentioned, I think earlier, the cliffs of Laguna. What are some favorite paddles and different types of paddles, as you've mentioned too? Baby Beach serves a purpose
sure.
in Dana Point
Absolutely.
Harbor.
So yeah, there's no doubt, if anyone gets an opportunity to come down to South Orange County, it is for sure SUP Mecca. There are so many different great paddle adventures you can do, and you can really split it up quite a bit. And we love pitching that to customers and people who are new to town, and kind of showing them where to go and where to paddle. So if you start with, the north side of Orange County, Newport Beach, in the Back Bay, Balboa Island, Lido, tons of places to paddle there. And what's great about Newport, it's all protected waters. It's not open ocean. So beginners, anyone can paddle back there. Like typical waterways, you have winds that could maybe kick up in the afternoon. So you kind of keep an eye on that on your Weather Channel or Wind Finder apps. And then, sometimes there can be some pretty honking yachts kind of going through that place. But for the most part, it's a no wake zone. So it's a great place for SUP, and a lot of different places to launch. Just to name off a couple quick, Newport Aquatic Center. So that's a place that most people know about, and it's easy to find on Google Maps. And Newport Aquatic Center has a public beach adjacent to Newport Aquatic Center, NAC. So you
And a
can pull
giant
up
parking lot, which is an
giant,
issue in Southern California sometimes. That big dirt parking lot.
right. And well, I'll tell you a fun story about when the pandemic first hit last year. Laguna was shut down, Baby Beach was shut down. Our governor wasn't really too big on getting outdoors at that time, evidently. But Newport Back Bay, thankfully, because there's so many inlets to the water, and they didn't do the crazy shutdown. And so we were at Newport Aquatic Center quite a bit, and it was insane to see the whole parking lot full, packed, which you normally don't, because that's a big parking lot over there. So
It's
yeah.
big.
Anyways, just thought of that real quick. But yeah, Newport Aquatic Center, Lido Island, Balboa. You pack a dry bag, bring some waters, a lunch, paddle to a cove, hang out, jump on your board again. So Newport's fun. And then going south from there, Not a lot of places to launch in between Newport and North Laguna. So I'd probably just jump straight to North Laguna. I mean, you could, yeah, the cliffs and walking far to the water is not a good deal. So from there, Laguna Beach, North Laguna is, I'd say, the better spots to paddle in Laguna, and they have multiple different areas that you can launch. I'd say the most popular and the one that's the easiest launch is Fisherman's Cove. And you guys can look this all up on Google Maps and pop on the satellite, and you can kind of see the different coves and the stairways and stuff like that. But Fisherman's Cove is a great little cove in Laguna. The waves break on a reef, so the waves don't break right on the sand, so it's an easy peasy launch. And then all of the North Laguna is all coves, so when you're paddling the coastline, you're just paddling around coves. Like I mentioned earlier, Laguna Beach is a shore break wave, so it's not like certain beaches that has multiple stacks of waves like further south, like San Clemente. So it's a perfect place to sup. And Laguna is just epic. You can, same deal, pack the dry bag, go paddle into a cove. That's the kind of stuff I do on my days off, and you could really do some cool exploring and checking out coves. There's a couple
I
of
think
places down.
it
Go ahead.
really the marine protected area, I know that's, debatable for other things for fishing, but wow, did it grow back. It's amazing what you can see underwater in Laguna on a calm day because of the kelp forests really have regenerated, and I think more fish and such than you've been
Oh
able to
yeah.
see for a while.
Well, Laguna is a marine preserve,
Hmm.
so that also really has got the fish back. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a big fish tank. When you're paddling Laguna, I mean, most of the time you're going to see dolphins. Right now we have whale season, so the whales love coming in close in Laguna. You might even see a mermaid out there. I don't know. You just got to keep looking. But yeah, I love paddling Laguna. I mean, that's my go-to end of day sunset paddle. Listen to the heavens sing, get some solitude, forget about the phone and the bills and all the stuff. I mean, watch the sun go down. That's the heavenly stuff. And then further south, so the last part to talk about for South Orange County is Baby Beach, Dana Point Harbor. Again, protected water. It's got a man-made beach, free parking. So that's a super popular spot, probably the most popular for South Orange County for paddling, just because of the access. And that's where we practically live down there in season. We're there every Saturday for our demo day event, and then we're going to do the SUP in paddle 5 to sunset every Saturday night. And then the rest of the week, we do a lot of private demos down there too. So, yeah, good stuff. We're super blessed for sure for being in Orange County.
Yes. Thank you for all of those. So you're very busy. Do you have any place you'd like to explore paddling, or a place you've had a chance to go outside of the area of your expertise?
Sure. I mean, anytime I've done little trips, Santa Barbara, San Diego. In fact, I'm actually sneaking out of town next week. Thank God, before it gets all crazy train. There's a really cool place, Paradise Point, and it's on Mission Bay Island. And it's got places right on the sand. It's Mission Bay, flat water. So I'm gonna sneak down there for a couple days, bring a board.
Nice.
Um, uh, Definitely one that's on my to-do list is uh, hitting Maui and doing some downwind type stuff. Really want to get that done. I've done Maui trips before, but I've never done the full bore downwind. Um,
Right. And you have all your SIC connections over there. That's where the
oh
designer, Mark
yeah,
Rappaport, is
I'd be
based.
knocking on his door big time. Hey Mark, come
Uh-huh.
on, bro, hook me up. So yeah, that's on the list. But yeah, I mean, and that's what's cool about the inflatables. When we didn't really talk about inflatables that much, but there's some great new innovations in inflatables, and that's great when you're traveling. The We got one board that we're bringing in. That's the double chamber. So that's a new innovation in construction in inflatables. And then I even heard that it was a standard in Europe that it had to have a double chamber for a safety thing, which kind of makes sense to me. It's kind of a no-brainer. You're out there in the middle of the water, and that's not a good thing you want to hear. So, but yeah, NSP came out with a double chamber. We're going to bring that in this year. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's you can spread the
As much
wings.
as I love my hardboard, I have just loved taking both on a plane. I'm going to Catalina. You go on the ferry, you pack your
Totally.
stuff along with the board and just roll your board over there.
Totally.
Inflatables are very useful in many
Yeah.
ways.
I mean, there's a trade-off for sure. I mean, we always like to tell people if you're able to get a hardboard and store it and get it on the car, that's really the way to go. You're going to get much more performance. But otherwise, if someone doesn't have a garage or they're in an apartment or they travel a lot, then the inflatable is a great option. And then again, the innovations have gotten so much better in that area too. So it's really cool that'll get more people on the water.
Right. You and I being coastal and having the sand, it took me a while to really understand why they've always been popular in maybe Europe or in cities where you're in a third-story apartment and you don't have a garage. Or river people, they're like, you don't wear shoes? I said, no, I just walk across the sand. We do have places with rocks, but they said, you have to have an inflatable and you have to have water shoes on because we walk across boat ramps with broken glass. We go through rocks, we would just bust up a really high quality carbon fiber board. So it really is interesting, the different uses in different places. So as you have mentioned a couple times now, the innovations where we are now is really exciting for stand up. There really is something for everybody on every water.
For sure. Across the board. So that's where thankful that we're in the position that we're in, where people who are really getting serious about getting into the sport, they have guys like you and guys like me, and more even companies that are investing, or you're seeing it more on TV and whatever else. So I mean, yeah, I was flat on my couch when I see the I don't know, the drug commercial, and they're on a paddleboard. Hey, I can paddleboard because I'm taking this Xanax stuff or whatever.
I know there's some strange ones with their paddles backwards half the time too. It's
Yeah.
Please, somebody tell them how to do it right.
Yeah, I remember in the get-go, I used to tell everybody, and then I just got tired of telling everybody all the time. So, unless I see someone really out there slapping and struggling, I just, I'll have to figure it out.
I try to always approach it really nicely, but I can't stop myself. But hey, you're doing really well. But if you turn your paddle around 180, it'll be even better.
Indeed.
Because it does work backwards. It just doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
Maybe people don't care. Well,
go ahead.
I would love to get some tips from you. I mean, you really are an expert in, SUP instruction and getting people going. So, and we do have this rebirth, you called it, of stand-up paddling. We have another growth. We had that exponential for a while. Agree with you that we had a bit of a dip and issues with brands and manufacturing and stuff. So very exciting to see more people finding it right now. And I agree with you, it will continue. But how about just in getting started, a few tips that you would give as a SUP instructor and retailer and getting going?
Yeah, I mean, once you start off by making sure you get the best suited board for you, because I think that's super key when you're going to buy a board and not just go randomly buy one online or whatever. Then you definitely want to invest in paddling properly. So to me, it's like any other sport. You go skiing, you buy a bunch of skis, you can go straight on the mountain and go, yeah, I got this, I'll figure this thing out. Or you get the instruction, you're crushing the double diamonds, So it's the same thing with SUP. And fortunately, so I did the Dave Kalama camp, or Dave Kalama did his Kalama camp at one of the dealer meetings that we had. And Candace Appleby, there's so many solid companies and people out there that are out there offering instruction. What we do is when someone is done purchasing their board, we'll do that paddle clinic with them to show them, hey, here are the proper phases of the stroke. Use the core, don't row. the most common um, thing we see of people just jumping on a paddleboard and rowing around, and then their shoulders are burning up in 5 minutes. And like, oh my God, this is terrible. And I go, oh hey, do it
Yeah.
like this. And then all of a sudden, bling, and the light bulb hits, and it's all there. So yeah, so that's where hopefully we're going to be a great avenue to not only just buying a board and getting this sport, but really understanding how to do it properly. And then there's some great YouTube videos out there about paddling properly. So there's, again, lots of avenues for people to really go out there and figure out, okay, how should I do this properly? And that's not only going to have you get less fatigued and have more fun, but we're all getting older by the second here. So the less wear and tear on our bods, the better, right? And to me, I mean, my game plan is I'm going to paddle right into the grave. Lord's going to say, boom, today's the day. I'll go right in, and there I go. So,
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, totally key, to round all the bases and paddle properly, and it's just going to save you, and you're just going to have more fun.
Get instruction if you can, and yes, you will be glad you did. We do have a very specific question. I don't know if Sean was on earlier. Considering buying a new paddle, mine is light, but I've heard the premium light ones can make a big difference over a day of paddling. You agree?
Sure. I mean, kind of like what I said earlier about when it comes to paddle brands, a brand that only makes paddles, that's a first little checkbox right there. And then typically, so like I'll just pitch Werner, because we're a big Werner dealer and love Werner, and American made, had been making paddles for 50 years. And, so you get a Werner paddle, right out of the gate, it's going to have the highest quality carbon, the design of the thing, being out in the market for so many years, versus, so some of the paddleboard brands that make paddles are great quality. They invest a lot to make quality paddles. So not that those are not good per se. But again, a paddle brand that does nothing but make paddles, I mean, I think that's a great place to look at if you really want to invest into a quality paddle.
Yeah, and Sean, if you weren't on earlier, Steve was saying that the paddle might be the most important piece of equipment, and I agree there. If there's anything I see where people aren't enjoying it, it's because they did get a really heavy, I mean, I can't believe there's even paddles that sink, but there are. I mean, every paddle should float. But they're so heavy that they're thinking it's something they can't do or they don't have the strength for. And that's where I see, oh, no, there's options, and you can get a lighter paddle. That shouldn't stop you from having a good time out there. So yes, the paddle's
Absolutely.
important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where some of these board and paddle packages are all groovy to get a price point to get people in the sport. But if it ends up being a heavy clunker, knockoff design, big, huge blade kind of thing, people aren't going to enjoy themselves. They're going to get fatigued and they're going to get discouraged. And so, it's the same deal.
Yeah. But happy to see, that they have improved. The packages with board company paddles have improved over time quite a bit. And I'm thrilled to see that. And Sean
Absolutely.
Warner is with an E, with 2 E's. Yeah, if you're interested in that brand. Happens to be what I paddle to. I do love it. And we didn't plan that. I forgot that that's what you sell. Yeah, do love that. Yeah. Well, it has been fantastic to chat with you. Sometimes Instagram cuts us off at an hour, so I just want to give you that warning and that heads up. But what a great business you've had. Congratulations for, 8-9 years of being in business. I'm so grateful for specialty retailers who have hung in there, because it's a tough time to be a specialty retailer of any sort. But hopefully things will continue to go well for you. I think you just have a fantastic model. If anyone lives in the area or visits the area, Steve's your man. Look him up. And I love the way you get people going in such a positive way, and then continue backwards half the time too. It's please, somebody tell them how to do it right.
Yeah, I remember in the get-go, I used to tell everybody, and then I just got tired of telling everybody all the time. So, unless I see someone really out there slapping and struggling, I just, yeah, well,
Yeah.
okay, I have to figure it out.
I try to always approach it really nicely, but I can't stop myself. But hey, you're doing really well. But if you turn your paddle around 180, it'll be even better.
Indeed,
Because
indeed.
it does work backwards. It just doesn't work as well.
Yeah,
Maybe people don't care. Well,
and I
before,
think that's was.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
I would love to get some tips from you. I mean, you really are an expert in, SUP instruction and getting people going. So, and we do have this rebirth, you called it, of stand-up paddling. We have another growth. We had that exponential for a while. Agree with you that we had a bit of a dip and issues with brands and manufacturing and stuff. So very exciting to see more people finding it right now. And I agree with you, it will continue. But how about just in getting started, a few tips that you would give as a SUP instructor and retailer and getting
Sure.
going?
Yeah, I mean, once you start off by making sure you get the best suited board for you, because I think that's super
Mhm.
key when you're going to buy a board and not just go randomly buy one online or whatever. Then you definitely want to invest in paddling properly. So to me, it's like any other sport. You go skiing, you buy a bunch of skis, you can go straight on the mountain and go, yeah, I got this, I'll figure this thing out. Or you get the instruction, you're crushing the double diamonds. So it's the same thing with SUP. And fortunately, so I did the Dave Kalama camp, or Dave Kalama did
Cool.
his Kalama camp at one of the dealer meetings that we had. Um, and Candace Appleby, I mean, there's so many solid companies and people out there that are out there offering instruction. Um, what we do is when someone is done purchasing their board, we'll do that paddle clinic with them to show them, hey, here are the proper
Great.
phases of the stroke. Use the core, don't row. All the most common um, thing we see of people just jumping on a paddleboard and rowing around, and then their shoulders are burning up in 5 minutes. And like, oh my god, this is terrible. And I go, oh hey, do it
Yeah.
like this. And then all of a sudden, bling, and the light bulb hits, and it's all there. So yeah, so that's where hopefully we're going to be a great avenue to not only just buying a board and getting this sport, but really understanding how to do it properly. And then there's some great YouTube videos out there about paddling properly. So there's, again, lots of avenues for people to really go out there and figure out, okay, how should I do this properly? And that's not only going to have you get less fatigued and have more fun, but we're all getting older by the second here. So um, the less wear and tear on our bods, the better, right? And to me, I mean, my game plan is I'm going to paddle right into the grave. Lord's going to say, boom, today's the day. I'll go right in, and there I go. So, um,
Yes.
so yeah, I mean, totally key, to round all the bases and paddle properly, and it's just going to
Yeah.
save you, and you're just going to have more fun.
Get instruction if you can, and yes, you will be glad you did. We do have a very specific question. I don't know if Sean was on earlier. Considering buying a new paddle, mine is light, but I've heard the premium light ones can make a big difference over a day of paddling. You agree?
Uh, sure. I mean, kind of like what I said earlier about um, when it comes to paddle brands, a brand that only makes paddles, that's a first little checkbox right there. And then typically, so like I'll just pitch Werner, because we're a big Werner dealer and love Werner and American made. It's been making paddles for 50 years, and so you get a Werner paddle, right out of the gate, it's going to have the highest quality carbon, the design of the thing, being out in the market for so many years, versus so some of the paddleboard brands that make paddles are great quality. They invest a lot to make quality paddles. So not that those are not good per se. But again, a paddle brand that does nothing but make paddles. I mean, I think that's a great place to look at if you really want to invest into a quality paddle.
Yeah, and Sean, if you weren't on earlier, Steve was saying that the paddle might be the most important piece of equipment, and I agree there. If there's anything I see where people aren't enjoying it, it's because they did get a really heavy. I mean, I can't believe there's even paddles that sink, but there are. I mean, every paddle should float, but they're so heavy that they're thinking it's something they can't do or they don't have the strength for. And that's where I see, oh, no, there's options and you can get a lighter paddle. That shouldn't stop you from having a good time out there. So yes, the paddle's
Absolutely.
important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where some of these board and paddle packages are all groovy to get a price point to get people in the sport. But if it ends up being a heavy clunker, knockoff design, big, huge blade kind of thing, people aren't going to enjoy themselves. They're going to get fatigued and they're going to get discouraged. And so, it's the same deal.
Yeah. But happy to see, that they have improved. The packages with board company paddles have improved over time quite a bit. And I'm thrilled to see that. And Sean
Absolutely.
Warner is with an E, with two E's. Yeah, if you're interested in that brand. Happens to be what I paddle to. I do love it. And we didn't plan that. I forgot that that's what you sell. Yeah, do love that. Yeah. Well, it has been fantastic to chat with you. Sometimes Instagram cuts us off at an hour, so I just want to give you that warning and that heads up. But what a great business you've had. Congratulations for, 8-9 years of being in business. I'm so grateful for specialty retailers who have hung in there because it's a tough time to be a specialty retailer of any sort. But hopefully things will continue to go well for you. I think you just have a fantastic model. If anyone lives in the area or visits the area, Steve's your man. Look him up. And I love the way you get people going in such a positive way and then continue to make those connections. So a couple of websites, sup2u.com or supm.org if you're interested in his sunset paddles. Hope you have a fantastic spring. I'm sure I'll be seeing you around somewhere on the water, on the beach.
Yeah.
Any last words you want to share, or did we forget anything?
Well, I'm sure I'll see you cruising down PCH in your SUP Subaru, and I know you're a Laguna girl as well, and I think again, really appreciate the opportunity to get with you guys, and love seeing what you guys are doing and investing in the sport. The sport is not going away. I mean, that's the other beauty, I think, of SUP, is because it's so accessible. I don't see this being a sport, which in the get-go, a lot of people kind of said, oh yeah, this is going to be a fad, it'll go away. Well, it never did. And that's just, again, to me, the accessibility, where to me, anybody can get on one of these things as long as they're buying the right board. And then, again, using the opportunity for your family, for the community. This is something that once you get into, you buy a paddleboard and you go, hey, Joe, man, I know you've been cooped up in the house. Hey, I just got this paddleboard. Why don't you meet me down at the beach this Saturday and get on the water? So this is where you're going to really give back. And, we're here to not just love ourselves, but love others. And here's a great opportunity for everyone to do that, especially obviously with the challenges that many people are still going through with the pandemic and uncertainty. And so, this is mental health. This is just something that everybody needs to get away from the TV and get out of the house and in God's creation. So, so just really excited, really blessed, really thankful to connect with you guys again today. And come on down and see us anytime. We really appreciate the opportunity to serve you. And all the info is on our website, sup2u.com, and same with the paddle, sunset paddle that we do. We'd love to have you guys come out. I'd love to meet you guys for sure. Come on down to South OC.
Great. Well, thank you, Steve Owen, for mind, body, and soul. As you said, the most versatile watercraft out there is a stand-up paddleboard. Um, Thanks, Robert
Amen.
from Italy and Paddle Shop Miami, Mel from Alaska, Sean. Yep, it is standing up to the test of time. And Maddie and Terry, thanks everybody for listening. SUP Connect, thanks for letting me do this every Thursday. I really, truly enjoy it. So great to talk to the wonderful people of stand-up paddling. They keep thinking I'm going to run out of people. I'm like, oh, no, no. There's so many great people still to talk with out there.
For sure.
So appreciate everybody's time. Remember, there is a Facebook group, hashtag SupConnect Live, where we post who's coming up next and any follow-up. And, you know, if you had any pictures or anything you want to send, I can post them there too. But this will immediately go to IGTV, so it gets recorded, and then it will end up on YouTube for SUP Connect, and also I put it on my YouTube, KT Outside. So again, Steve, thank you for your time. SUP Connect, thanks for
Thank
the
you, Kristen.
opportunity to interview great people. Take
Thanks
care,
for the good
everyone.
work. Yeah, God bless everyone.